New at 5, two sons lost. By all accounts, they were good young men, loyal sons, one of them about to start college in Colorado Springs.
So their parents had no reason to worry when their sons went to a summer party together until the call came that they were dead. KRDO News Channel 13 Sydney Stell joins us from Monument with the story of losing both these boys to pain pills laced with a drug 100 times stronger than morphine.
The Riviere brothers grew up here in Monument, the only sons to their parents, Matt and Shelley. They spoke to me today through their pain to warn me about something they'd never heard of that took their boys away forever. You only have to spend a minute or two with Matt and Shelley Riviere.
Steve was a great wrestler. He was 24-0 in his middle school.
To know how proud they are of their two sons, Stephen and Andrew.
How they were just wild boys from the very beginning, and we're always trying to corral them, and full of life and energy and passion.
Stephen, my youngest, was very witty, and Andrew, my oldest, was the goof. And they just had a great time together, really bonded as brothers.
At 19 and 21, the boys were just starting to find their way in life. They lived together in Colorado Springs, both working full time. The oldest son, Stephen, was about to start college.
Yeah, they just had a lot to look forward to.
Then, on July 25th, less than 2 weeks ago, Matt and Shelley got a call no parent can possibly prepare for.
The coroner's office said that they had gotten oxycodone, blue M30 is what they called it on the street. It was street pressed, and unbeknownst to them, was cut with fentanyl.
Stephen and Andrew went to a party. Each chose to take a pill. Neither son ever made it home.
You know, they made a series of choices. They weren't,
weren't
drug abusers, they weren't drug addicts.
Yeah.
They held their jobs. They were great-hearted kids.
Now, just days after their death, Matt and Shelley are warning parents about the dangers of fentanyl.
Just from what I understand, it looks like oxycodone. And I mean, that's horrible that they would do that anyway, and we're just devastated that they wanted to try that, but they didn't know that it was poison, and that's what it was, so.
Fentanyl is a painkiller that's similar to morphine, but it's 50 to 100 times stronger. The smallest amount can be lethal. Dealers are cutting pills with fentanyl and selling it as name brand painkillers because it's significantly cheaper to produce. If the dosing is just slightly off, the pills can be lethal. Because of that, when Matt and Shelley walk their property out in Monument, they're reminded of the good times with their only two sons that are now all in the past.
I have a lot of memories, and I think that it's...
Yeah.
There's a lot of love in this family, and with all the mistakes, it covers it all over.
Yeah. Just don't waste any time with your kids. Don't be so busy that you don't spend amazing time with your kids.
Here at 10 a.m. on Saturday, the Riviere family invited the entire community to come out here to a memorial, to honor their sons, hear their stories, and to remind you that this could happen to anybody. At Fox Run Regional Park in Monument, I'm Sydney Stell, KRDO News Channel 13.
Unbelievable pain. And sadly, what happened to Stephen and Andrew is part of a statewide and nationwide fentanyl crisis. Last year alone, 534 people died from fentanyl in Colorado. That was a 150% rise over the previous year. The street version of this drug is typically manufactured in labs overseas. China and Mexico are big offenders, and it's usually either shipped to dealers or makes its way across the border through an intricate mule system. And it's cheap to make and has been increasingly mixed in and pressed with other drugs like you just heard. Those who have used it likely don't even know that fentanyl is present. It's so potent that a minuscule amount, what you're seeing there, that 6 grains of fentanyl will kill most humans. If you don't think the problem is big here, it is. It was just last month a man was arrested for possessing 13,000 fentanyl pills, enough to wipe out entire towns.